I've got some devastating news. One of my favourite toy retailers, one of the shops has closed. It's the one that I first found, and it's the Toymate at Chatswood, in Chatswood Chase. The Lego section's been cleared out. It reminds me when Toys R Us fell over, and the first thing to be wiped out was a Lego when it's 20% off. This is the signs that you see, so it's 20% off store-wide.
Warning. This video is made for a general audience. It may contain adult themes, consumer advice, and information that can be enjoyed by all ages. I need to say this because, sadly, the YouTube systems are totally dumb ass.
This store had a really dynamic Lego area. Lots and lots of stuff. I'm tempted, semi-tempted to buy that, but I'm going to be strong and I'm going to say no. My son's with me. He actually got attracted for some unknown reason to this set here. And actually caught me by surprise. I said, are you really sure you want that set? And apparently he does. I'm having that many flashbacks of when Toys R Us closed because it looked very similar to this. This was the area here where the Thomas toys used to be. Well, all the aisles and everything have been moved away. Yeah, I'm actually just looking around for if there's any Thomas stuff left. At the moment, I can't find it. I might have to walk around a bit further. This is disheartening. There's so many retailers that have vaporized since the thing starting with V, they're also connected to P, and whatever else words we can't say on YouTube. I mean, crikeys, this is just gut-wrenching. I took a photo of Chatswood Chase, just one section of it, before I came in here, and that will give you an idea of the temperature of retail that's going on. I can't find the Thomas stuff or whatever. And you see, I mean, this is classic Toymate. You just see some of the strangest things. I've got no idea what that brand is, but, well, it's still sitting here. The Bluey section looks, well, semi-wiped out. Baby Shark is below Bluey, and guess who's beside all this? Peppa Frickin' Pig. The thing I really liked about Toymate, and this is a classic example, you used to find toys that you couldn't find anywhere else, and here's a Blue's Clues house. To me, that's a show from some time back. And that's just one example of, you know, the glory that used to go on. They just had so much good stuff. Maybe the retail space here was a bit small for their format of store. You know, sometimes people just look for unusual toys like this. Sometimes very hard to find, but not in a toy store like Toymate. They sort of just had everything. This was the middle of store checkout area. And I'm just really sad to see this. I haven't got to the bottom of what's going on, but I will one day. And on the back there, you can just see some of the amazing Lego sets that were here. I mean, they're still there for sale. And yeah, it was always the place to come to get the good stuff. This was the store where I found the Stranger Things show bag. I remember I purchased one of these. And my kids loved this bag and the stuff that was in there. And it was also the place where I found one of the last bits of Thomas merchandise that I featured in those merchandise videos, although I think this is a slightly different design. This is the only Thomas thing I found in here so far. I'm not going to buy this. Doing merchandise videos is a complete and utter waste of time. This is what my son's picked up so far. We can't show his face because of all the policies on StupidTube these days. There you go. Why do you want this? That's the part that got me by surprise. Why do you like that?
It looks cool.
It looks cool.
Yes.
Frickin' hell.
Especially the background.
Well, I found something more semi-curious here, and I'm partly interested in the Hornby Christmas Train Coca-Cola themed. Just going to look at the price there. $189.99. And maybe I'll get my members discount as well, but it was this down here which I'd like to say to YouTube right now. See this numbnuts YouTube for adult collectors. Adult collectors. I'll say it twice. Thank God for adult collectors, hey YouTube. Let me take a look at the back of this box. It might entice me to purchase this, or is it not going to entice me? That's fripping a bit boring, isn't it? That's not doing very much for me at all. I've just got a moment, there's no one in shot here, and I can just walk around and just wipe the tears from my eyes, I tell you. Just really upsetting to see this. Now, I never saw this one coming because I always perceived this to be a very popular... Oops. Have to blur that out, won't I? I've had a big time look around and I just cannot find the Thomas stuff anywhere. There's another train set here. I'm pretty sure I've had one of those and I just say no to that. The Star Warsy section is here. Maybe you know your Star Wars stuff and I can just go like that there and you can tell me if it's good, bad or indifferent. I wouldn't frippin' know. There's an overlay, there's a DC section here. Seems to be quite bloated, I'd say, in that realm. And if I go like this, there's some Marvel's things going on there. Again, to me it seems like it's a little bit bloated. Seems to be a lot of shelf sitting going on there. I found something Thomas Toy. Crikey, I can't believe it. This is one of the last things that's here. Maybe that's a good sign for Thomas and Friends, for the fact that I can't find very much. But considering what that era is from, guess what? I'm putting it straight back on the shelf. These models of animals, I won't call them toys because they're quite detailed. They can be a little bit expensive, but obviously people's menageries have been increased because a lot of that's been sold out. I've been looking for something that, for myself, that I could buy here, and I think I may have found it in this area here of these collectibles. Dun dun dun. Ace Frehley, rock star of Kiss, the band. Not Tommy Taylor. Let's get this correct. This is the true rock star of Kiss, as in Ace Frehley. Unfortunately, Kiss has become a joke these days. Did I go to the Sydney concert? No. I'm not paying multiple hundreds of dollars to see the lead singer lip sync a concert. And these are the other characters that are there before I get into any more trouble here. Maybe you say, Leo, how could you ignore Captain Pike? Very tempting, very tempting. But I tell you what, who's next to Captain Pike is possibly someone else I grab. Angus Young from AC/DC. Yeah, cool. I've got some great memories of this toy, mate, and things that I found in there over the 7 years this shop's been here. As I'm babbling on here, I'll show you some pictures from the past in this store, going back to 2017, 2018. I spoke to the staff on exiting the store and I asked, of course, what's going on. And they explained to me they needed a bigger footprint. And I always felt the store was a little bit cramped because I have seen the bigger format stores and they are fantastic. A lot of the Toys R Us transformed into Toymates. And it was just great to hear that the store is not closing permanently. There's going to be a transition to another site. They told me the other retailer that's fallen over. I'm not going to name them here, but I was a little bit surprised. But then again, I'm not surprised because so much retail has failed since the thing starting with C, V and P, if you know what I mean. Of course, I asked where is the Thomas & Friends stock because I know there was an area there which had Thomas & Friends goodies. And the staff said back to me, and this is good news, is Thomas & Friends and of course a lot of the Lego were some of the first things to go once the price reduced to 20%. Some of the premium Lego sets, and there are actually quite a few there, are still sitting there, and I bet you there are people watching those like hawks, especially if the price reductions go to, let's say, 25% or 30%. Those other bigger sets will just go poof, and they'll be gone. The exact same thing happened when I witnessed Toys R Us closing in Australia, and it was really curious to see which brands walked out the door at what reduction of price. Of course, you can start reducing prices back to 40% off, 50% off, or maybe 60% off. And all of a sudden, it starts to attract some very different people coming in, picking up what they perceive as bargains. I remember very clearly when Toys R Us were in that zone of under 50% off, and you had these strange people come in with trolleys, basically grabbing at anything, and I was going up to them and saying, why did you get this, this and this? And they looked at me and they just say, oh, it's really cheap. They're not saying, well, it's because this is a great brand and this toy is going to suit little Jilly or Johnny really well. They're literally just grabbing stuff because it became like a feeding frenzy of bizarre bargain hunting that in a way made no sense. But if someone replied back to me, oh, I'm a person who sells things on eBay or online and I can make a markup on this and hopefully not rip someone off, I'd say, well, okay. To me, that makes sense. But just grabbing stuff because it's cheap doesn't make any sense to me. I'm yet to meet the owners of Toymate. I've come very close to meeting them because I've gone to a store and they've said, oh, they're only here in the morning, but now they've gone to the North Ryde store. And I'm thinking, oh, when am I going to strike gold and get to talk to the people who set up these stores. Toymate was certainly around before Toys R Us folded in Australia, and Toymate pounced on the opportunity when there was a vacuum made by the disappearance of Toys R Us. And what's happened since is it's made Toymate what I classify the premium toy store to go and find whatever you need to find. I've always had this saying, you walk into a Toymate and there's a very good chance you will walk out with something in your hand or multiple things that you found in store just because you go, wow, I never thought I'd find this in a toy store. And as I've been babbling on, we've probably seen some toys from the past and you sort of think, wow, I remember that from years ago. How much is it now if I go on to eBay? And this is the bizarre part about the toy industry. Some toys are around for a fairly short period of time. In particular, things associated to films, let's say. Let's just say Disney planes. I could pick off that as a prime example. And all of a sudden, give it a year or two, you'll go online and you'll see ridiculous prices for what was on the shelves for next to nothing. And what I should do is drag out the Disney planes and Planes 2 toys that I've collected over the years. I never made a review of these toys. They're all still mint in package. And I'm thinking, wow, I could make some serious money if I sold these online at a premium price. And of course, sometimes selling stuff online, it pays to sell at a premium price because, well, the systems like you to do that. Sort of goes back to that saying, you can only make money from people who've got money. You really can't make money from the poor. So, yeah, great memories in this store for me. I'm really happy it's not a total closure and disappearance of the brand in Chatswood. It's just going to take a little bit of time for them to set up a new store which has got a bigger footprint because this store really needs a nice large area to do its retailing because when it's set up in a big format, it's incredibly impressive.